Hello and welcome to our weekly political program on Lagos Television. I am Ajibola Ojeshola. This is the first edition of the show in the year 2025, and I'm wishing all of us the best of this year. In the year 2024, so many things happened. Fuel subsidy was removed. That was also the year that we witnessed the introduction of the tax reform bills and so many other things that happened in the polity in the year 2024. This evening on the program, our focus essentially is on Nigeria in the year 2024. But before you meet my guest, we'll be taking a very quick break to bring you some of the trending issues in the polity in the year 2024. We'll be right back. You're welcome back, and you're still watching the Pendulum on Lagos Television. Nigeria in year 2024 is our focus on the program today. And we have joining us this evening Honorable Kalejaye Adeboye Paul, PhD, representing Ajeromi Felodo Federal Constituency. It's a pleasure to have you, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to all our viewers. A nice being here again.
Okay, so give us your own perspective of Nigeria in the year 2024, knowing full well that Nigerians battled with a lot of things. Subsidy was removed. That was also the year that the new tax reform bills were introduced. That was also the year that the Port Harcourt refinery started happening. The cost of living was quite high, inflation. It was a baggage of so many things in the year 2024. And at some point, Nigerians questioned themselves as to why they elected President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, because of these battles that they had to fight in the year 2024.
Yeah, thank you very much once again, viewers. It's really a fact that you want to describe the 2024 as a year of, activities that some will consider very negative to the well-being and welfare of Nigerians. The slogans were ranging, so many, the removal of the fuel subsidy caused a lot of upheaval in the political system of Nigeria. In the standard of living, people could no longer cope with prices of items, and prices skyrocketed. But I tell you, as that may be, it's a year of giant stride. Why do I call it a year of giant stride? It's a year of political gamble. I call it gamble because we have lived like somebody living in a fool's paradise. We were spending the money that we did not have. We were subsidizing fuel. We were buying fuel at a cheaper rate. And then money that was meant to develop the infrastructure of the nation was being used as subsidy. And then you can have growth and not have development. We were growing, but we were not developing. So it's a giant stride that we have taken in 2024. Why? Because the removal of fuel subsidy put before us the reality of who we are. Like I said, we're living in borrowed robes, spending the money that we did not have. Now we have to spend the money that we have. It's a year that has made Nigerians to also be more proactive. Proactive in terms of thinking outside the box. Survival became very, very, very tough. And then people have to think outside the box. How the world am I going to do to survive? But I will praise the resilience and the patience of Nigerians because nobody thought it would be that way. And when I watched the president on his chat last year, and he was talking about, they said, do you have any regret for removing the fuel? He said, I have no regret because nobody wanted to take the bull by the horn. We were shifting goalposts. Don't forget that before President Bola Ahmed Tinubu ascended the throne of leadership, the fuel subsidy had been tactically removed by the outgoing president because the fuel subsidy terminated in the month that he was going to hand over. The new month that he came into power, there was no fuel subsidy in the provisions of the Nigerian budget. So if you had to continue with the subsidy, then means you have to go back again and start. So now the fuel subsidy is gone. The challenges are here. We're picking up. And I can tell you, the way we felt it when it came is not the way it is now. Nigerians have resilience to cope with challenges. And then we have a very large population. Population is an advantage. And so because of our population, it's been easy for us to maneuver here and there. But then I would say that what is germane to me is to say that we need to go back to a nation called Nigeria, the agrarian society. We used to be an agrarian nation, a nation that is, triumphantly prosperous in terms of agricultural activities. Our cocoa, our palm oil, our granite pyramid, all of those ones. We abandoned. The oil boom was like a cost to us, rather than be a blessing. Rather than now have a multiple economy, we now have a mono economy. Everybody abandoned the farm. Everybody abandoned everything that were giving us livelihood. And then we all became a petrodollar nation.
So 2024 was a defining moment.
Very defining. Very.
So, okay, does that give you the hope that this year is going to be better?
We say that is the period of foundation laying. 2024 was a period of laying a foundation for the economic activities of Nigeria, for a prosperous Nigeria. And I'll give you an example. Most of the plans and, of course, the activities in the agricultural sector of the Nigerian economy will begin to yield fruits. You can't plant cassava today and expect to harvest it tomorrow. You can't do all of those activities in the agricultural sector. In 2024, we have invested so much in agric, and I'm sure that this year it will continue to manifest. And that will ripple in terms of reduction of prices of goods that people really rarely consume. Two, it's also going to be something like will be a revival of the ailing economy in terms of now the Dangote refinery is on course, the Port Harcourt refinery is on course, the modular refineries are also coming up. Over time, let's remember when we started the GSM, I'm one of those who bought GSM line for 50,000. Today, we know that you don't even have to pay money to buy your SIM. We started without the pay as you go. We started. Today, the price of data, buying your data has reduced. Crediting your GSM card has reduced. So the monopoly has been broken. We started with just two. We joined the other one to join, and then we started seeing a fall in the price of. So we will begin to see a price fall in terms of our, supply of petroleum and diesels. So that will also start bringing down the prices. So we're not going to experience upward trends.
It's going to be downward.
It's going to be downward trends in terms of inflation, in terms of purchasing, whatever. So for me, I think the year 2025 will be a much more prosperous nation.
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. I know that you are one of those members who were very active on the floor of the Green Chamber of the National Assembly. There was a particular bill that you raised, which is essentially about promoting our indigenous language. Why that bill?
You see, one of the major challenges we have as a people is that we have lost our cultural identity. We've lost our cultural identity. And the most particularly heated race is the Yoruba race. Our language is almost going to extinction. Even in our homes, we don't speak our local language to our children. Our children cannot speak our local dialect. So, and like other tribes also, the Igbos, the Hausas, and what have you. So my motive of sponsoring that motion is to ensure that we can start teaching in a primary school and probably junior secondary school using the local language as a medium of expression. And when we use our local language as a medium, one, it will enhance easier understanding, promote easier knowledge of the subject of instruction. It will also, wake up our cultural values. Don't forget, when we are younger, we always recite iṣẹ́ ni ògùn iṣẹ́, múra sí iṣẹ́ ọ̀rẹ́ mi, iṣẹ́ la fi ń dẹni gíga, bí a kò bá rẹ́ni gbẹ́kẹ̀lé, àtẹ̀ramọ́ṣẹ́ ẹni, bí o kò bá lówó lọ́wọ́. So all those things, they were not just poems for reading's sake. They were teaching values. And those were the way we grew up. But then we've thrown all of those ones away.
And that is what shaped who you are, who you have become today.
Yes, that's what shaping people like us. But today, they are no longer in existence. So, reawakening our cultural values, ensuring that we can teach, and of course, those countries that are developing, that are fully developed today, they are still using their indigenous language.
One other thing that I would also like to know is that majority of us, we always focus on Mr. President, forgetting the governors, forgetting the commissioners, forgetting our ministers, forgetting our lawmakers. Mr. President cannot reshape the country alone. As a lawmaker on your own, what have you done to also complement the efforts of Mr. President at your local level as a member of the same party?
Thank you very much. You've said it all. And the president at the point opened up and said, you are not asking your governors questions. But I think after that statement, the governors have started waking up. For us in the National Assembly, we are lawmakers. We are not in the executive. We don't implement, we make laws. But then that notwithstanding, at least we are entitled to our constituency projects. And our constituency projects was brought about as a medium of also making us impact on our various communities. And so your constituency project also will enable you to look at the various things that you think are of topmost priority to your people. Is it water? Is it, light? Is it road? Is it boreholes? What is it? We may not be able to embark on very intensive capital project, but then the stipends that come to us as constituency project is also an input into cushioning the sufferings of our people. And so for me, in January 2024, I did a palliative in terms of food for my people. And then I did for 7,000 people. And that, was done, was achieved. But in this year that have just gone, in the upper year of 2024, and precisely in December, I embarked on a 2 weeks program. The first week was just towards training and empowerment. And training and empowerment was more to the youths and women. They were trained in digital marketing and their ability to use their even telephone, their iPad, their little gadget to also earn money and develop their skills. As we were doing for the women and the youths, we're also doing for the artisans and we did for the hairdressers. We empowered them, we retrained them. We were not training people who will go back and whatever thing we give them, they go and sell it. We trained, we gave them hairdressing equipment from the standing dryer to their accessories for them to be able to improve on their marketability and their sales. And for us also, we also retrained, some new ones who are also upcoming. As we're doing that, we're also training the tailors, the fashion designers. We also empower them by giving them sewing machines and what have you.
So you created employment.
We created employment so that they can also improve on their own. And then we have new people who are also entering into that. Today, fashion has become the in thing. So we also did that. As we're doing that, we never forgot those other people who are also into telephone usage, telephone repairs, ICT, and what. These are all focused towards the youths. Because the preponderance of the challenge we have is that we seem to be neglecting our youths.
Okay.
And so I did a lot to attend to the youths. But of course, health, they say, is wealth. So I also did the health care, what we call the medical outreach. And in that program, at least not less than about 800 people of our people from our constituency came and benefited from their teeth, attending to their teeth, their needs, their simple ailments that needed attention. And you need to be there to see what really was happening. Of course, we did solar lighting for our streets. We have done 24 solar power lighting in 24 streets over our federal constituency. So we commissioned some of them, and today it's still ongoing. We did not stop there.
So you are also giving back to your constituents?
Yes. And of course, I'm also reminded that we also supplied medical equipment, medical facility, medical reagents to our health care centers, particularly the primary health care centers.
Okay, the impression out there, correct me if I'm wrong, is that this 10th assembly is a party government. No matter what the president brings to the National Assembly, it will just go through, and people are beginning to question if indeed members of the National Assembly are really scrutinizing some of the demands of Mr. President in 2024. Is it that the lawmakers are the lapdogs of the executive?
Well, there are two ways to life. You're either confrontational or consultative. It's either you consult or you confront. So in confronting, you must use the first approach, which is consultation. And we were not put there to fight the government. It's one government, broken into three components: the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary.
But one is independent of each other.
One is independent, and we have maintained our independence. And I will tell you very clearly, you want to understand the issue of the tax bill. It's been very turbulent. Up to now, we have not been able to pass the tax bill because we have divergent opinions. And people never fail to express their divergent opinion. So it's not as if, we don't see the merits of the new tax bill. And I will tell you, for me, the new tax bill is a redistribution of wealth. The tax bill is aimed at redistributing wealth from those who have much to those who have very little. So it will redistribute wealth. It will also protect the poor, because if you are below the trench
of a millionaire,
you will not pay
tax.
So it's a bill that will protect the poor. It's a protection of the poor against the rich. Also, if you have a business and you cannot make up to 50 million,
you don't pay tax as well.
You don't pay tax. So which one do we want? And you need that every developed society tax the rich more than the poor. So if there are fights and the poor are keeping quiet, is the fight of the rich against the poor. So for me, I'm not speaking for the National Assembly. Am I speaking for the House of Representatives? I'm speaking for myself. I've studied the bill. I've gone through it. I'm not saying it doesn't have its own lapses one way or the other. But I think there are more things to gain, particularly by the poor, in the new tax bill than the way we perceive it.
So how does that correct the impression about the National Assembly?
Well, it's also...
Because you have only spoken about the tax bill now.
Yes, there are other issues.
What about the borrowings of government?
Yes. Let me also let you know.
Because last year, a lot of loans were taken.
Yes. What are you borrowing to do? If you are borrowing to finance infrastructure, you keep on borrowing. America is the biggest economy and is still indebted, heavily indebted. So if you don't borrow to develop your infrastructure, the infrastructure you fail to develop now, when you want to develop it, it will times 4 of that same infrastructure. So if I borrow 10 naira now to do an infrastructure on road, and then the road is in use, it will have economic value. It will multiply in terms of, save roads and what have you. But if I don't do it now, and I wait till another 2 years, I'm going to pay like times 4 of that same amount. So if the borrowing, why the National Assembly is not vehemently opposed to borrowing, is because it is not being borrowed to pay salaries. It is not being borrowed to finance, contingencies. It is not being borrowed to finance overhead, but it's being borrowed to finance infrastructure. So if those infrastructures are there, we also have to protect the future of our youth, our people. If you don't protect it, and you don't invest much on infrastructure, you continue to invest on overhead and salaries, then you are doomed. So borrowing is not anything bad. It depends on the purpose for which you are borrowing. So for me, I don't think that borrowing is anything bad. So the legislators are also scrutinizing what the borrowings are used for. And if the borrowings are good, we don't have to confront the executive.
Okay. All right. A very quick one before we allow you go, just in a minute or two. You were one of those that campaigned vigorously for Mr. President before he was elected. In 2025, this new year, are you still hopeful that it's going to put smiles on the faces of Nigerians at the end of the day?
I can assure you, you live in Lagos. When Ashaju was governor in Lagos, the first year was turbulent. You remember the days of Ujiyobo. You remember the days of even downsizing the civil service structure. You remember the days of Akele, may his soul rest in perfect peace. You remember how the struggles were. One, what he did was to grow the economy, first and foremost, provide abundance. You cannot fight poverty if you don't provide abundance. So what the president is creating now is creating abundance. What the local government were receiving is not what they are receiving now. What the state government are receiving is not. They now have more power, economic power, to invest and develop infrastructure and continue. So for me, we're spending money more on what is important for our people. And I'm sure it will keep on manifesting. In 2025, we're going to begin to see some of the gains that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is putting in place. I'm sure that at the end of it all, we will say thank you to Mr. President for taking us through the road. It is hard now. But then, they say to climb this Wahala hill. To climb this hill now, Wahala. They have to come down. Now, easy. So we'll come down by the grace of God in terms of landing softly. But then let's keep on being perseverant. Let's keep on being patient. Let's keep on being proactive in terms of our engagements in some other productive ventures rather than engage in unproductive ventures.
All right. Those were the words of Honorable Kalejayi Adeboye Paul, PhD, representing Ajeromi Fellow Federal Constituency. He's been speaking on Nigeria in 2024 and is giving us the assurance that the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is on track. And of course, this new year, 2025, will be better than year 2024. We just need to endure some more and, of course, support most of the policies of government for Nigeria to enter into the dreamland. We thank you very much for your time on the program this evening.
Thank you very much, viewers.
All right, that's the show today. We thank you very much for watching. Once again, we say Happy New Year. I am Ajibola Ojeshola. Bye for now.